All right, you're welcome back. We're going now from a funny man to someone very serious, and we're going to be talking about humanitarian things. Friday was World Humanitarian Day, and I have here with me Daria Akinfosile, who's going to be helping us understand what that was about and what we should be expecting going forward. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for.
Now, what is World Humanitarian Day? What is it supposed to achieve? What is that about?
It's a day that has been designated to celebrate women and men that actually told front lines to help people in crisis. Millions of people are in crisis every day, from 130 million people needing humanitarian aid to survive, to 50 million people displaced from their homes, to people, victims of accidents, war. So World Humanitarian Day is, apart from a day designated to celebrate people who actually risk their own safety to help others, is also a day to remind everyone else that there's much work to be done in alleviating human suffering.
Yeah. I think this is the 13th year it's holding. I think I hear it started in 2003 when the UN headquarters in Baghdad was bombed. So 13 years down the line now. From then to now, have we made any progress? You know, I mean, people always wonder, days like this that are designated, they're supposed to help create an awareness on a particular issue. Has enough awareness been created in the last 13 years that you've seen people, you know, care more for humanitarian causes or humanitarian organizations?
Yes, I believe so, but also in parallel, we are having more crises. We're having wars, we're having insurgencies, we're having... the disaster scale is becoming unprecedented because of course, human population, human activities, and different interest groups and what have you. So, but by and large, the humanitarian network is being strengthened. A lot of people are aware of what humanitarianism is and the scale of problem. People are actually aware, and we're actually coming together to really work more.
Is Nigeria aware of this? How was the day celebrated in Nigeria? Is this something that we take active full part in?
Yes, actually, the Nigerian atmosphere, it's, of course, we do have our own challenges also, and we are part of the international movement. And the Red Cross actually, which I'm a volunteer, actually participated in this Laudable program in creating awareness and celebrating people who are actually doing great.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the Red Cross there. The Red Cross, organizations like Medicine Sans Frontiers, that Doctors Without Borders, are very active in humanitarian work, especially in Nigeria, with regards to what we've seen happening in the Northeast in particular. But speaking of the Northeast now, we did hear that polio has made a comeback. You know, we have 2 cases, I think, from this month, actually. And we're not sure if it's going to lead to another outbreak again, because we thought we were on a path, you know, to eradicating it. In times like this, when you hear news like this, what are we supposed to be doing? I mean, we'll still hear sometimes of guinea worm, you know, being an issue. We still have these issues in many parts of Nigeria. How do we handle things, I mean, such humanitarian issues?
Yes, the advent of polio, the coming back of polio, it's a great setback, because we were on the path where we would have been certified as a polio-free country if in 3 years we didn't have a record of polio. But this came again. But that is the reality, to tell you that we can't just be complacent for the fact that we've eradicated polio. It's a continuous job. So, and this has sparked a medical response. And I believe at this week or next, the first phase of vaccination will continue. So this tells you that these things are there, even when you try to control them. It has to be a continuous process. Yeah. What are the mechanisms along our borders? People coming in with diseases, all of this, they're quite integrated. Yeah. And the humanitarian challenge in this phase might be the fact that the Northeast is home to insurgencies of the Boko Haram. So medical team going in and out to vaccinate kids would be challenging, but we've done it before. We can do it. Yeah. We can do it.
I know we've talked quite a bit about the IDP camps, in particular in the Northeast, and how, you know, the conditions there are not the best. And we've had those camps, some of them running for close to 4 years now, and it looks like things have gotten even worse. We're hearing stories and seeing pictures of children almost dying of hunger even in these camps where they're supposed to be kept safe. Organizations like yours are also part of, the drive to keep IDPs going and, help these families that are displaced, continue to live a normal life. What is the situation do you hear? What is the situation now from most of the camps, at least, that you probably work with?
Yes, you'd have IDP camps as a result of crisis. Yeah. So if you don't have crisis, you perhaps won't have IDP camps. As long as these crises are there, Boko Haram, insurgencies, and what have you, the security of life and property is linked to what is happening. So if the government is winning the war against insurgencies, people go back to their home, the IDP camps become lighter. But the vice president gave us assurance that we're doing what the federal government is doing what they can. And also, there's an appeal to other organizations to help. So it's not just about the Red Cross. Even the community that is hosting these IDP camps are doing a great job, because they can as well protest and say, we don't want IDP camps, because IDP camps can also be a center for targets or for insurgencies and what have you. So it's challenging, but we can do what we have to do our best. Considering also that we have limited resources, people, even when you are paid 2 million naira per month to go and work in IDP camps or in a troubled area, it's still a great risk. A lot of work, because you'll be a center for targets.
But what is the situation from these places now? What do you hear? Are things improving? Are people really dying of hunger like we hear? I mean, what sort of feedback do you get from this camp?
It's mixed. It's mixed. And once you get negative feedback, it is quite important that organization act in that line to ensure that it is well managed. Like I said, it's limited resources, but it's mixed. We have different camps, different. If you go in yourself, you would see positive results. Of course, it's not the best place you want to be. Sanitation, feeding, accommodation. So it's not the best place you want to be. But the organizations are really doing well to manage the situation.
And these organizations now, the aid workers in particular, sometimes they are probably, like you said, it's a risk going to these places, and they probably have some of the most dangerous jobs in the world. How do you stay safe in a place like, in a region where there's an ongoing, insurgency or an ongoing battle, or terror attacks are constant? What do you guys employ to stay safe?
Okay, there might be difference from one organization to organization, but however, there is this network of humanitarian aid workers organizations, and we do have guidance. But a very basic one is that volunteers, first and foremost, are briefed about what they are signing up for, and then they are well trained in aspect of security, the kinds of vehicle you can go with, when you should report, where you should stay when it's late. All those things are part of the developmental activities for volunteers. Yeah. So all put together would further reduce your risk. And one of the mechanism that is employed by organization is also to recruit volunteers from local environment. So you understand your environment, you can speak the language in case you run into any trouble, and of course you know the terrain very well. So it's a number of mechanisms that are up, and of course with the security
agencies that are on ground. How do you recruit volunteers? I know you're supposed to volunteer, as the word says, but how do you do that in Nigeria? Do people just come into the office in Red Cross and say, I want to volunteer, or do you do drives to get people in?
Yes, it's both. But people who are aware that there's a cost that can be supported can walk into Red Cross branches or divisions and say, okay, this is what I do, this are my spare times, and this is what I can volunteer with. So we have such, and in specific situations where we have certain needs for volunteers or certain needs for certain skills, we actually do the drive. We inform people, we advertise, but most times people just walk in and say, okay, I know there's a situation here, can I volunteer? And once we assess the person, you have the skill, you have the willingness, of course, and then you have everything that is required. So just put
do you have a lot of young people who come in?
Of course. The strength of most organizations are actually in the young people, the youths.
All right.
We have most of them.
Thank you very much. Happy World Humanitarian Day belated. Hopefully, we hope you continue to do the good work that you do. And why I asked about young people being involved, I know people who would like to be a part of things like this, and it's nice to hear that people are doing things, and you volunteer with the Red Cross. Exactly. And there's, of course, a lot of other organizations that people can be a part of. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you guys in a moment. Please stay with us. We'll have more talk right here on Rubbin Mind.